This is my Darth Vader deck. Now, if you've never seen Star Wars, don't worry. There's only two references, and they're pretty big names that I'm pretty sure a lot of people know that haven't even watched it. Swain is Darth Vader. If it wasn't clear enough, I felt like it was a pretty good comparison. I feel like demon powers equals the Force. I feel like that is pretty good for League of Legends. You know, there's not a lot of people, but I feel like Swain is the closest thing to Darth Vader. Commander of, like, basically everyone in the army. Basically what Darth Vader does. But who rules behind the scenes? This is someone that people might not get right away. Emperor Palpatine. Who would that be? The man that has only lived probably the longest in Legends of Runeterra, or in League of Legends. Runeterra? I don't know what the fuck it's called. But Vladimir is Emperor Palpatine. Now, as you can see, this deck has a theme. It is non-combat damage and kind of just poking. A lot of poke. And now before I go through this deck, just FYI, this is just my suggestion. This is me kind of steering you into the path of this deck. What the general idea is. You know, make adjustments as you will. This is mainly just an idea. I think it's really cool. I think it's a good one. Let's get into it. Now, as a 1-drop, I feel like this is an obvious one. Every card in this deck can survive this, but this card will become probably the biggest threat in the game if people don't deal with it super quickly. And I think that's what's super cool. Now, the only card that can get hit by it is this. But it's just poke damage. It's just to annoy them. This deck relies on winning or securing the mid game so they can win off of it. So this early game is very important. You have a very strong curve, and you want to take a hold of the mid game and be in complete control of it. Legion Saboteur is just kind of one way to annoy the hell out of them and put them in their place. Then you have Crimson Disciple. Pretty obvious, you know. Turn 1, Crimson Bloodletter. Then you go into Crimson Disciple. Free damage. Getting bigger. They should be scared. Imperial Demolitionist. Obviously, these two are the classic combo that's been in the game for a little bit now. Legion Grenader. I feel like this is just one of those 2-drops that it's like a no-brainer. It's so good. Crimson Curator. This is probably a debatable one for a lot of people, but at the end of the day, it's free cards. Now, I'm not saying like, oh, like it's gonna. No, this is just, you know, icing. You know, this is a really good 1-drop to have. If you can't have that, sucks. But there are plenty of other cards that can activate him, and I feel like most of the time, worst case scenario, it's gonna be a 1-for-1. You'll activate him and then you'll trade him, but that's just free cards for you, and they're losing value in theirs. So that's awesome. Culling Strike. This is another type of removal that people will be like, I feel like this is good just to get a lot of early champion or just early threats in general off the board right off the bat so you don't have to deal with them. I feel like a lot of the game, a lot of champions can get hit by this. And so I feel like that's why it's good, and that's why I have 2 of them in there. Now, obviously, I said this is just a suggestion. So we have 2 of Death Hand, 2 of Noxian Fervor. This is just kind of like, whatever you like more, go for it. I feel like Death Hand has its cases, Noxian Fervor has its cases. If my personal opinion, there should be 3 of Noxian Fervor. I feel like that would probably be the best. But it's just my suggestion. Now, we get into Crimson Awakener. A huge card in the deck. It'll probably be a focal point to play on turn 4. If you can get this guy on turn 4, you are feeling really good, or you should be. If you're not, you did something wrong. Legion Veteran. I only have him 1. I just want to put this out there. It might be a good card to have. Just saying. You know? He's there. Utilize him. You might have one more of him. You might have taken him completely out, but I felt like, he might be a good card to have. Now we get to Swain. If you don't know what Swain does, if he hits the Nexus, he deals 3 more damage to it. At 12 non-combat damage, he flips. And he becomes this massive dude. And I say massive like he's impelling, and I feel like that is not really what Swain is. What Swain is a commander. He stands behind everything that is happening, and that's where he gets really good. That's how you have to play him. He is the commander. He's behind everyone. Every time you deal non-combat damage, everyone stuns, and then you attack. He is not the initial attacker. I'm just throwing that out there, just in case people, get confused about the strategy. Swain probably shouldn't attack unless people are mainly stunned, because you want him to hit the Nexus just for that free damage, and this deck really activates all the stunning. So, then you have Vladimir. Vladimir, for each attacking ally on my right, they changed that, and I think it's a great change. Deal 1 to it, and then 1 to the enemy's Nexus. Great way to trigger Swain in terms of flip, and then his stun that he has. After 5 allies have survived damage, he flips into a 6/6 with regeneration, and then the same ability. This is pretty huge. I feel like he can get really close to flipping on turn 5, which is ideal. And you might even be able to get him to flip on turn 5 when you attack. Or turn 6. I feel like ideally turn 6. So this is a great card. I could have thrown some of these transfusions in. I decided not to. I'm still debating on it, but just a little extra thing to maybe try out later on. Moving down the list, these are the 3 hardcore brute force win conditions. Okay, everything about the deck from this point is kind of how the deck runs. It's the core fundamentals of the deck. Everything runs. After this, these are the cards that if you play, you are looking to win with them. Now, this first card, pretty controversial, I would say. Not a lot of people play him. Not a lot of people put a light on him. But it is a purple, and it is Battering Ram. Every time he attacks, he gets +4. This thing is only a 6-drop, and I think it's insane that no one is running at least 2 of them into a lot of Noxian decks. Now, there are meta decks. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about those. I think just general Noxian decks, this is such a strong card. Especially with, Vladimir. Literally 12 health. At turn 6, turn 5 Vladimir, turn 6 Battering Ram, you have a shield and a guarantee attacker. It's crazy. You could throw him into Piltover and Zon. Wait, no, sorry, not Piltover and Zon. I always forget it. It's the Pirates. I think of it because it's the Slaughtering Docks, but that's not it. Bilgewater, god damn it. But this is a huge card. It can take a lot of your own beating. So, like Vladimir, right? He can take plenty of damage from Vladimir and other means. Then he just keeps getting stronger, which would lead into the next card, which is Incisive Tactician. Repetition. I cost 6. It's just 5 damage 4 times. You dealt 5 damage 4 times this game. And when you summon Rally, so you could have a 6-mana Rally. This card, like some people might say, you can't get this guy off very often, and I would say you are 100% right. But as an 8-mana card to Rally, I feel like that is good enough. You play him, you Rally, and everyone in stun, you basically sweep the game and win. And that's kind of the idea. Just saying. Next is Leviathan. Yes, I have 3, and yes, this is a huge card for the deck, even though it's an 8 cost. This card will save you games. This card will steal you games. A 5/8, a meat shield, and it's a freaking hardcore spear, whether you attack or not. You can get multiple of these on the field, and you're dealing, if you get 2, you're dealing a quarter of their health a round. That is going to put them on a clock that is terrifying. By turn 8, they should be low. So then this is even scarier. You're probably putting them on a 3-turn clock. I mean turns like you go, you have the attack token, they have the attack token, and you have the attack token again. That's a kind of like timer they're put on, and it's terrifying. And I think that's why this deck is super fun, is because when you actually get into this late game and you get into your win conditions, you are in a position where you're going to win, and they should be scared if you play correctly. Now, this is the Darth Vader deck. You could call it the Dark Side deck, whatever you want to say, but I think I'm going to leave that name on the side. This is the Dark Side of the Force. This is the Darth Vader deck. I think it's great. I think it's fun, and I think you can clutch out wins and beat and even surprise your friends with this one. Hope you enjoy.